Why didn't you tell the American people exactly what you told the Egyptian Prime Minister?
Well, I think if you look at the statement that I made, I clearly said that it was an attack.
Calling it an attack is like saying the sky's blue. Of course it was an attack.
Well,
you don't, we want to know the truth. The statement you sent out was a statement on Benghazi, and you say vicious behavior as a response to inflammatory material on the internet. If that's not pointing as the motive of being a video, I don't know what is. And that's certainly how the American people saw it.
Well, Congressman, there was a lot of conflicting information that we were trying to make sense of. The situation was very fluid. It was fast-moving.
All right. Joining us now is Senator Rick Santorum, of course, former senator from the great state of Pennsylvania, Republican presidential candidate, ricksantorum.com. Hello, Senator.
Well, for being conflicted and fast-moving, she was certainly able to tell her daughter and other people that she was conversing with that night that she knew exactly who the people were behind this attack. Except she didn't share that, nor did anybody else in the administration, till obviously weeks later, and after the news cycle had passed, and they were able to spin this during a very critical time in the election, where they were trying to say that the war was over, and Libya was great victory for them. So this was, I think that was one of the moments, where it became very clear that they knew exactly what was going on. And they simply, for political reasons, didn't tell the truth to the American public.
Absolutely. I'm hearing from liberal media outlet after liberal media outlet that they're thanking Gowdy for calling her. This solidified her. She was presidential. See, I don't see any of that, because I think what you just said was the smoking gun of the afternoon and evening, plus the fact that Stevens didn't have her email address. She never talked to him after she appointed him, not once, until he died. But the media spins it the way they do.
Yeah, no, I think on several fronts, certainly did she hold her composure and she answered questions, of course, but number one, she certainly didn't tell the truth, and and it's very clear she continues not to tell the truth about what she knew that night. And secondly, you're the head of the State Department, and you have one of your embassies. It's not like you got 50,000 embassies. You got a couple of hundred. Very high-ranking people in the State Department. You got these are this is your watch. These are your outposts, and one is under attack, and people are being threatened and killed. And the fact that you weren't on the deck and you weren't watching and managing and taking responsibility at this critical time, you didn't have the concern about it. You didn't take management. You're now asking to be put in a position of being commander in chief. And at a moment when you can best reflect what that would be like, you went home and didn't have any kind of real communication with anybody. That to me was another very telling moment there. That this is someone who is frankly maybe not ready to be. Doesn't have the desire to take on these responsibilities and deal with them firsthand. She just leaves it to underlings.
Let me ask you.
That's not good enough.
Let me ask you. Do you believe the fact that Lois Lerner has walked and the IRS officials have walked, according to the Justice Department today, that Hillary Clinton, that's an indicator that Hillary Clinton will get the same treatment?
Well, it's obviously disappointing. I mean, there's no question that these organizations were targeted, and they were targeted, and not just organizations, but individuals. I can't tell you the number of people that I've talked to who have been targeted by the Internal Revenue Service because of their political activity. And this Justice Department will go down, I think, along with this president, as the worst presidency and the worst Justice Department, the most corrupt Justice Department, I should say corrupt from a political standpoint, and that we've ever seen.
Okay. Let me ask you, Iowa. You've told me you've got to do well in Iowa. You think you will do well in Iowa. There's been a change in the polls. Why do you think Donald Trump has now fallen out of first place and has been replaced by Ben Carson?
Well, these things happen, Steve. I mean, it's just a matter of people getting to know the candidate a little better and having second thoughts. A lot of to most voters out there, all these candidates, most of these candidates are very new, and so they don't know much about them, and it's an opportunity. These races are an opportunity to find out, and as they do, what looked like the grass is always greener on the other side. Well, we like this guy, but this guy looks like he's going to be better. And then they go over, go to the other lawn, and they find out that grass is, well, maybe there's another guy over who is a little better.
So in Iowa, not to interrupt, but we only have another minute and a half left. So in Iowa, for instance, you think they're getting a good look at him, and you're a big social conservative. Are they finding out, in your view, that Trump doesn't pass the test? He wouldn't be really totally pro-life, and he would, and same-sex marriage.
I think issues ultimately are going to matter, and particularly in Iowa, they will matter. People are very concerned about making sure that we have a reliable conservative, and I think in the end, as we get closer and closer to caucus day, folks like Rick Santorum are going to start to come up, because those are the guys you can trust, and they're the ones who've been an outsider, shook things up, made a difference, got things done. And in the end, I think that's who they're gonna go with.
And you hope it's you. How important is Iowa? And again, you said if it's obvious to you one day, you wouldn't hesitate to get out. I'm not looking for you to get out, and I'm not saying you will. But is this next debate, and then is Iowa eventually a real test for you?
My intention is to get to the Iowa caucus. Remember, I was at 1% 4 years ago in a poll that was taken today, and I ended up winning the Iowa caucuses,
right.
And that was a month earlier. So I'm not looking at anything until we get to the get to the finish line.
RickSantorum.com, the great Rick Santorum. Always great to talk to you, my friend. Thank you so much.
Thank you much, Steve.
All right, Rick Santorum. We're coming back. The Malzberg panel. Larry Elder and David Goodfriend will weigh in on all of this. Don't miss it. It's coming up next.